This is The Future of Work. Welcome along to another podcast from Ian and the crew on The Future of Work. Let's join them now for the new episode.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good grief. It's another podcast from The Future of Work. I'm joined today by Eric. How are you, Eric? How's Seattle? Is it as hot as it is in England?
It is not, which I'm very grateful for, Ian. Actually, it was pretty chilly yesterday and rainy in the morning. But, summer, that's how it is oftentimes in June in Seattle. We call it January. So I'm grateful that it's not blazing hot like England and Europe right now. So,
Oh,
yeah,
it's hot.
can't complain.
Hot. It's really hot and humid. And England was not designed, the cities and the urban spaces are not designed for hot weather. They're just not. I mean, I could be in Barcelona at these temperatures and it'd be fine. They've got cool breezes. They've got lots of trees everywhere to shade you. England is just not designed like that. It's designed for the heat to stay in the cities because it used to be very cold. So not a great place. Meanwhile, we're recording this in the middle of the FIFA World Cup that's happening in America and Canada. And
Yes, that's very exciting. I'm definitely following that. So we'll see how England does now that the knockout rounds are starting today.
Yes, well, I hope they get better because they're not brilliant at the moment. But there we are. That's it. So great to see you. Great to chat. Quick few shout outs. Lots of people have been saying, how come no podcast for a while? I have been busy in Africa. You've been busy as well, but we want to get some more going. Quick few shout outs to Tim and the team at Christians Against Poverty. Thanks for all your encouragement. We finished a big course with them this week. They were nice. Chris D'Amato, who may well join us. He's in Washington and wanted to join us. Mike as well, and Steve. So what we want to talk about today, it's a little bit to do with, would anyone be surprised to hear we're going to talk about AI? Nobody. Nobody at all. Someone said to me the other day, AI is the new agile. And there's a reason why people are saying that, by the way. And it's because what agile was really about was how to get things done faster and better and get the market quicker. And I think sort of AI has taken over that sort of slight agenda, if you see what I mean. So I thought we'd talk about that today, Eric, if that's okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I actually like how you've phrased what people mean about AI as the new agile, because, one of my pet peeves doing agile coaching and senior scrum mastering for so long now, like 14 years, is that people love to say that they're agile, but they don't really know what that means. So
Now they're saying that they're AI, but they don't know what that means either.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was going to say. So like people say and I'm a bit cautious about this because, my first question to you is, what do you think the consequences of leadership just telling everyone to, quote, use AI and then not have much direction with that? It feels like, in the Minions movie, it's just a bunch of people running around bumping into each other, trying to figure out the best way.
Well, first of all, if you're watching this on the video system, you will find that there's a dog in my scene and there's a cat in Eric's. That's very much how we live. So,
yes.
What are the consequences? Well, in the past, they used to, senior leaders, C-suite execs would go, we need to be faster. We need to get to our market quicker. We need to understand all this chaos, all this VUCA world. The answer's agile. Now they're saying, well, the answer's AI. How do we get to AI? And the one thing AI is saying, as well as everything agile says, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is AI saying, and it's cheaper. Not only is it faster, but it's cheaper. If you think about what the fundamental understanding is that's going in the market, it used to be, to get a job done, you needed 8 teams. Then it became, to get a job done, you need just 5 agile teams. Do it because they're efficient and they know what they're doing and they're getting to the right things first, and they're focused and all the process stuff is there. Now what's being said is, to get the job done, you still need 5 teams, but now those teams, there's 1 human and 4 or 5 agents doing the job that was being done by the team. And I'm not sure that's actually true. I was listening to a call with Nick Singal, who's an American guy, and he said he had a wonderful presentation of this that was just showing all these big trends we've had in technology since 1945. Every single one of them was, this will be the end of humans. And they never were. It was always an expansion and growth and extra things. So we'll leave that aside. So I think, so all CTOs, or all CEOs of any kind are going, oh, if I'm not saying AI, I'm going to lose my job. I better start saying AI. But there's a few things that you have to put in place. To get this to work, you really do need to understand and think about the entire ecosystem of what's happening in companies. So I'm talking about the architecture, the processes, and the people. And all of that still has to be thought through when you do AI. It isn't just everyone in the company now has access to Claude or Claude Cowork or access to ChatGPT or Copilot.
Or Rovo or
Rovo,
whatever you're
or
using. Yeah.
Okay. Now, there isn't anything wrong with giving people access, but that is really just like saying to a young kid, "Here's a bike. You'll get around faster on a bike than walking. Here's a bike. Off you go." Without
Yeah.
structure, without process, without some training, some will succeed, but a lot won't, and I think that's the problem. So, I guess the first thing I should say about leadership is, and I'm saying this all the time at the moment to leaders, and that's what I do now for a living. I'm not AI enablement is what I'm doing all the time now, wherever I am. I think the first thing you got to do before you start using AI is set up a really good AI governance body. And that body is made up of senior people, policy, legal, compliance, cybersecurity for the company, how to use it well, put a framework around that correctly, get that in place, get everyone to sign it. It's got to have classic stuff in, like, I don't know, you do not let the AI system look at your emails.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it can do all those kind of things. So I think the first thing is to get a really good governance body. And the problem is, a lot of companies are throwing the problem of AI to tech people.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's a brain box. We'll let him do the AI enablement across our company. And it's seen as, it's just like Agile was seen as coming out of the engineering space. It's the same thing. Oh, AI is coming out of the engineering space. We'll let them organize it. No, no, no. What you need is an across the company governing body that says this is how we want to use it. And particularly, this is how we want to keep ourselves safe from its
Well,
misuse.
yes, and that is actually a good point. I was talking to one of the senior leaders at the company I'm at, like 2 or 3 months ago about AI, of course. He was out visiting from back east and in Seattle, and he said it's like everybody has an Ironman suit on right now.
So
He's
what?
really so, like using AI is like, but then I mentioned that to someone, and I thought, okay, I don't know about that. I'm like, sure, you can be really powerful, but then an architect that I work with clarified that more and said that, yeah, but you don't know if you're going to level a building. It's like you could put on the Iron Man suit, but how do you use this super powerful tool that you've just been given? If you're just like, say, good luck, young lad or lass, have fun with this thing. It could really be potentially literally destructive for your
Very
company.
destructive. And in reality, if you take like two companies and one goes, "Well, we must be AI everywhere to beat our competitor." Well, if the other company's going, "We must be AI everywhere to beat our competitor," all you've really got in your analogy is a bunch of people in Iron Man suits,
Right.
and two different companies still competing, but now they can compete faster and do more damage. I'm not trying to be negative about AI, by the way. I just want us to understand what it's meant to be doing for us and what it
That
isn't
is
doing for us.
that is the exact point that I've been looking at as I'm watching the company and working with the company I'm with onboarded. Now they are going slow, and being cautious because they're in the financial space, which you want them to be. Um, but it's interesting. Now they're starting to bump into things like, this problem is coming out of the or this tool is coming out of the engineering space. But I think your point about you need across the board adoption, uh, to make sure that it's just not a bunch of engineers figuring it out. I like that point because it's so expansive and all encompassing. But I'm seeing them question about the cost of it now, for example. Like if everybody's like, how efficiently are you using the AI so you're not burning through all the tokens that you need to buy to use this platform?
Well, I mean, right now, I was reading some stuff about the court cases going on in America because AI is America and a little bit of China, but mainly it's America. Every one of the big AI labels is being taken to court over its policies and over its. So, the classic one here is Claude is being taken to court on a class action suit on what does 20 times faster mean if you buy the 20 times faster subscription. So loads of that's going on as well. We're trying to understand what it can do. I mean, it's powerful stuff. There's no doubt about that. Our friend Ricardo, that we know well, introduced me to introduced ChatGPT before it was even public. I was on the
Right.
beat for that. So it's been around.
Yeah.
We know what we've been doing with it. But what if you don't get the governance right? It's not safe. But the government's it's designed to give you something else as well, which is the answer to the question of why. Why does it help us with our business? So, for example, one of the companies I'm working with, I said, yes, native AI everywhere, but everyone's doing that over the next 2 years. What's your unique selling point afterwards? What is it afterwards that you're unique at that will keep you in business, please? Because what won't keep you in business is going AI, because everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. You know? In the classic, the saying is in the gold rush, California gold rush, the people who made the money were the people with the shovels and
Yeah. I
the
was just talking to my dad about that the other day, the shovels and ropes.
shovels and rope.
Um, yeah. Yeah. So
So it's
exactly.
really about that. I think. Sorry, go on, Eric.
No, no, that's good. I think, yeah, keep going, Ian, because I want to talk about this why a lot because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's like you want us to use AI and you want us to do all these things, but why? I think that gets down to the heart of what a coach is. One of the things that a coach is good at is asking those questions and helping people take a step back and seeing why the heck they're even building something in the first place because it can get so diluted as to like a technical ask and it can be so hard for the teams that are building it to see the whys of why they're asking them to build a certain tool that they're working with. And when that communication is not clear, like how does this tie into your OKRs and your roadmaps? Things go awry and you end up building stuff that's not needed or take too long. And AI is the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I found that personally. Yeah, I mean, I have built because I finally could. I built several products myself for me for business. Uh, a lot of the I built a training thing that I use for training. I built an AI assistant. I built a media assistant. What I've realized having done this is just because I could build more and more features into it because AI could let me, didn't mean I should have.
right.
What I've actually done is I've confused a couple of my products with what they should be. Classic, absolutely classic product owner stuff that you ought to understand. But what's happened is because AI has been involved, it's the feedback loops are faster. So instead of me taking 3 months to find I've gone a bit AWOL with my thinking, I
Yeah.
get in 3 days or 3 hours. I get back so I've gone a bit fuzzy on one of my apps, and it's the same problem. It's always the same problem, which is because you can go faster, and the market wants you to go faster, and your businesses and your customers want you to go faster. You go, okay, let's go faster, but you've got to know why, and where you're going. My analogy of the bike, for example, I used to go in the park with my two kids when they were quite small. I mean, they're in their late 20s now. But they go in the park. We'd cycle slowly into the park, yeah, and then we get in the park and they both whiz off in the bikes. Super fast. Neither of them checked where I was going, where I wanted to go.
Right.
We go in the park. And after about a minute, I'd call them back and say, hey, Josh, you've gone the wrong way. Come back. And of course, they'd whiz back just as fast as they whizzed away. But that doesn't mean they got anywhere useful, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I think and that's why I the AI is definitely at that stage right now. I like what you said about we need to take a classic product ownership approach. And for me, what the company I'm working with right now, they didn't hire product owners. So as soon as I came in, I'm like, this is a huge gap. Like you've got the executives wanting to do something, and then you have the tech side, but you don't have anybody that's shepherding the product owner mindset. And we're seeing that come back to haunt us more and more with disorganized backlogs and no connection between what the executives want to do and the timing they're promising people and the teams that are actually executing it. And then you throw in AI in the mix, and it makes things, you know, it speeds it up and makes it even the mistakes even faster. But it's really frustrating. You need to have that. I think you need to have that five whys, that basic five whys approach. Why you're doing this? Okay, why are you doing it? And just keep asking each other that.
I mean, you're bringing out a point that I want to make to anyone in our audience, which is, agile coaches, do they still exist? My answer to that is yes, but now I think what companies want is utility coaches who can advise and exploit and create guidance for the use of AI, the use of product, the use of agile, or all of them together, and delivery. Because I still think there's a sort of a market sort of almost whisper going on that the agile coach is divided into a bunch who just tell you what you should know and a bunch who can help you get on with it. So, for example, my byline on my emails now is I use AI, lean, product, and agile to get stuff done and to help others get stuff done. That's what I
Yeah.
say I am. And, I'm still here. I hear of a lot of people I think have really good understandings of agile who can't get jobs, want to become a postman, for example. Lots of that going on. So before we carry on with AI, I do want to make this point, which is
Yeah, that's good.
what we need to be as a community is multi-purpose. What does the company need? Not what can I give it, but what does the company need? And have I got that in me to come across and do that? So particularly the higher levels, the C-suite level, you've got to have done some C-suite work, but you've got to be on top of these things. So a classic example of this would have been a couple of weeks ago in my company that I'm working. Someone out of the blue rang me up and said, I've got this idea. I said, great. Why are you ringing me? And he went, well, you're the AI guy, aren't you? You know how to deliver these things into the company. I thought, well, good that I've got that reputation now. Not just about agile, it's about all of
Right.
this. So general advice, but let's go back to the topic of agile, AI. Sorry, forgive me, my pen's just causing.
No, that's good. I'm glad that we asked that, because you basically answered the question I had, is like, for agile coaches and senior scrum masters, how do we need to rebrand ourselves? And that you've done this, Ian. And so it's not that you're jettisoning your AI or your agile and coaching backgrounds. You need that probably more than ever, actually. But you're expanding into all the other tools to get stuff done.
Well,
It's just
that's
part of the
exactly
toolkit.
I would put it like this: to be a good coach, you need to be good at coaching, and I'll
Mhm.
leave what that means for the moment to another podcast. But you need to have subject matter expertise in what you're talking about. So, if all your subject matter is in agile, and nobody wants to talk agile today, you haven't got much you can coach in reality. If, on the other hand, you've taken the time to make sure you get the training you need, investing in yourself, not just in coaching, but in how AI works. I mean, there's a ton of free AI courses you can get. Every AI company, Anthropic, you can go and,
Right.
I've got a
They have
friend
all.
who, you can just get them free. You can also get lots and lots of courses where you're taught how to do it really, really well. There's a bunch of people at my work, senior managers, who went on, they each paid about $4,000 to individually pay to go on a course about how to use Claude to create agentic AI. And if I'm honest, I've seen the course content. It's not worth that amount of money, I don't think, at all. But so one of the things I'm doing, for example, is I'm now, my business company now certifies people for lean portfolio management and AI. So if you come to me and take a course from me, I can certify you in AI. Now, do you need a certification? I'll go back to what I've always said about certifications, which is it's good because the stuff you learn is the good stuff. It's designed by experts to say, this is what you really need to know in this area,
Yeah.
Imagine I was a footballer and someone said to me, you're a good footballer. And I said, I'm fantastic at football. Thank you very much. And then they said to me, how good is your left foot? And I went, oh, I need my left foot to work as well. Oh, nobody told me that. I've just got my
Right.
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 So what certification gives you is this industry sweep of what's really worth knowing, which is better than a cowboy saying to you, "Oh, I know what AI is. Just come on my course because I'm brilliant at it," and they're not. They're just not. So, but I still say to every coach, learn the other. So whilst I did Agile and then learned to coach using Agile, I then learned how to do Lean using Agile.
Hmm.
I learned how to do business transformations, coaching business transformations. I then spent time, effort, money learning how to do leadership circle profile or Belbin teams, which are all ways of doing really strong leadership agendas, subject matter expertise. And now AI, I've done the same thing with AI. I spent multiple thousands training so that when this guy rings me and says, "Well, you're the AI guy," I can go, "Yes, I am. I do know it. Thank you very much." And that will be the move. Now, going back to AI, though, the first thing we said was, get your board right, get this governing body right, make sure you know it. And then the next thing that really needs to go on in companies, you need to give lots and lots of people training. Go to training, have training camps, get them to know. It's a bit like my story of the bike. Don't just give them a bike, put them on a training course. When
Hmm.
I asked my dad when I was 16 if I could have a motorbike, he said, "Well, you've got the money." He said, "But I'll buy you the bike if before you use it, you'll go on the AA's training course for safe biking on a motorbike."
Yep.
So before I ever drove my bike on the road, which I could do literally as soon as I bought it, the licensing system in England was terrible in those days. Before I even could do that, I'd gone on 8 weeks of training on how to drive safely. And of course, I've never had a bike accident. So the point I want to make about that is just giving people access to Claude. And Claude is one of many, I could name many. And the
Right.
people will tell you, this is so good, you don't need any training. I'm sorry, bullshit. Everything
That's
needs,
exactly what I'm seeing happen.
everything needs
So,
training.
or here's a portal. Look at it.
Everything needs training.
Yeah.
Everything needs training. You need to invest in yourself, train yourself to know what's the difference between good and bad, whatever the subject is. It's just not true. So camps, training camps. So literally, buy a day's course on how to use Claude brilliantly. Look for a good one. If anyone is on the podcast and wants to know a good one, ask me. I'll reference you the really, really top ones on using Claude, on using ChatGPT, on CoWork, on Cursor, on any of them. What the really good courses are, because you don't want to. If you're going to invest a day, don't invest a day to get average. Invest a day to get really good. Um, and then I would say have some AI labs, which are part of innovation, which is let's try and do this in an AI way now. How can we learn to do this? So those are the key things. But then what's happening, I think, and now I'm going to ask you to just ask me lots of questions, Eric. I'll finish with this because it's in my brain to dump to you. What's actually happening in the market is everywhere is piloting, but nobody is driving it to good production. Everyone trying things out. We're all doing. I mean, literally, I was on a call on Friday with for a company that's got like a center of excellence for people learning to do a certain thing, and they're
Hmm.
all learning and they're all trying things out. And there's probably about 90 of them all trying to learn the same thing. And they're just playing about, and it's exciting, it's interesting, it's shiny. But my question all the time is, how does that get to production? The classic in this is a classic. Have you heard of GXP? GXP
Yeah.
means, yeah. So GXP, for anyone listening who doesn't know it, that means you've got to be able to show you've followed all of the business standards and industry standards on how you do things. And particularly in some areas like finance, healthcare, a few others, it's mandatory you do this.
Yeah.
Imagine you're putting a software to live and you've got to create all your GXP documentation. And part of it was done with AI, and you don't even have an audit. I mean, AI done well is like code. It needs auditing. It needs literally that. One of the things we're doing where I am now is every piece of Claude skill. It's like a code is audited. It's put in a CMD database. It's GitHub, so we know exactly what version's used. So if someone says to us in 5 years' time, that piece of software, how did that come about? We can go, well, this skill was used in part of the requirement gathering. Here's the skill. Here's literally the skill we used. It's GitHub version control. It's all that. And so I mentioned the gold rush earlier and the sort of idea for a reason, which is at the moment, we're very much in the Wild West still of we're trying it
Yeah.
out.
And I'm glad. I think this is a good place to finish for today, Ian. I mean, we could keep talking about this for hours, I'm sure, but this is really great. I like how, the emphasis on training right now. We've been talking about this for a while, and I know, and I saw you in the early days when you were on beta for ChatGPT, and you were just playing around with it. There was like no direction, but that's is still what's happening, but it's just happening en masse. It's not just a few niche people that were lucky enough to get and curious enough to be part of this beta. Now it's just like everybody's doing it. And it's really frustrating. So asking, I think that question, how does that get you to production, is a really excellent way to do that. It's one of the things that I've personally been doing, where I'm working right now, and like I've set up what I call an AI tiger team in my just to see what we're doing. But having that training, I think locking into that, and oftentimes you need to do that on your own. Like this is outside of your day-to-day work chaos. You have to seek it out on your own, find these courses, get certified. Like most of us, for the agile coaches and the senior scrum masters on the call, just like what you did with your agile coaching certifications, your lean certifications, whatever, right? This is no different. So
100%,
yeah,
mate. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. 26. I could talk about this all day. Maybe what we need to do, Eric, is pick some of these themes that we've briefly touched and deep dive in them and talk some more on each of them.
well, I think the training is a good one, and I, when I'm looking at AI, I often think of Occam's William of Occam and Occam's razor, right? Like, what is the Occam's razor approach here? Keep it simple, because it's quickly getting weirdly complicated with like throwing that when you're throwing A on top of the later, and people are forgetting like basic tenets with lean and agile about trying to keep things simple and putting the guidelines. Those guide rails still need to be placed. You're still driving down a road. You still need a center line in the road. You still need guide rails, right? Just because, you know, so
Okay, let's get to the end of this episode. It's great to speak again. So I'm going to ask me a question, and I'm going to ask you. So, what question to me is, what's the most important? What am I seeing? I'm seeing two things. One, I'd advise anyone, get your AI governance body in place in your company. If there isn't one, petition for it, argue for it, push it up. If you're not listened to, reach out to me. I'll write some guidance article for you to send to your company. Number two, individually, get yourself trained. Get yourself trained. So what you want to be is what, I want to be, which is when someone thinks I've got a problem and I know AI will solve it, who's the guy who I should talk to? Ian's the guy. And you want that for yourself. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't other people who can do it in my company. There's loads of brains in my company. Unbelievable. But I don't want to be left behind, and I want to adapt myself to what's needed for the next 10 years and find the right training. Why did IC Agile make all its progress and work it did in the last 10 years? And it was because they worked out, not that people needed training, but they needed the right training. And so they got lots of industry experts to help them understand what the best training should be. And then they pushed that out. So, that's why the people who do SAFE's declined. IC Agile hasn't declined because there was a right level. I'm not trying to make a political statement about either of those, by the way. I'm just saying, find the right training. You can start with a LinkedIn Easy course on whatever tool you want, or general AI. You can find those. But then you want to go further into good training. So that's my two main points for the day, Eric. So what's hit you today then? What's worth
I mean, those 2 points are really important. And that's the thing that I've been thinking about, like for the rest of this year. I keep telling my friends and family, I feel like I'm in school again. Right. I really do. Like I knew this was coming, and we've been talking about it for a while now, probably literally a couple years now. We've been talking about this, but now that it's really ramped up, I feel like I'm in school again. And so take that mindset, I would say, of just like put yourself in a student's mindset. And I think your 2 points are excellent to end on. Like get your AI governance body in place if you don't have one already, or at least familiarize yourself with what they're trying to do. But I think even more importantly is is the second point you said, is get yourself trained and get the right training. So start with those free YouTube ones. Start playing around. Don't be afraid to get a Claude subscription or whatever a ChatGPT subscription, whatever you want to do, and play with it. But then seek out the good training. So, you know, for those of you who heard Ian just a minute ago say, reach out to him for the right training, do that. He will send that to you. So I think that's the right, that's where I feel more optimistic at the end of this talk than I did at the beginning of it. So
Yeah, thank you. Well, let me finish with just one phrase to anyone who's listening, which is, in a year's time, your ability to be in control of what you decide to do with yourself is utterly down to how much you invest now, this year, while you have the space into these things. You can't turn up in January 2027 and go, now I need to know AI. Silly you if that's what you do. What you need to do is take your moments now to do it. Get some training in now, become a lifelong learner now. We are all going back to school, and it's fast, and but it's doable. I think it's really, really doable. Eric, great to listen, great to chat. Nice to see the cat. I hope if you've got the video, you'll see this is the garden. I'm in the garden because it's too hot to be in my office at the moment. Let's hope we get together next week. It'd be good.
yeah, it would be good.
Thanks, Eric. Bless you.
Yeah. See you, Ian.
That's it for this week. Join us next time for more insight on the future of work. There is also a Linktree site, which is at linktree/Ian Banner. If you like this podcast, and please subscribe, follow, and tell your friends. Send them a link. It's for free.